Okay. So, last week in school, I teach at a school, and last week was Red Ribbon Week. And on day one of the week, we had this assembly. We started talking about the effects of drug use and what it does to teens, but mostly it was just a celebration. People got to wear sweats, they got to wear hats. They're not usually allowed to do that, and they got a lot of treats. And on day two of Red Ribbon Week, I caught some kids vaping in class. So my speech is about how we as a community could be doing more to educate our teens on the effects of drug use. So as a community, we could be doing more by implementing a joint school and home taught prevention program, raising awareness of the effects of using drugs, especially at such a young age, and connecting with and encouraging our teens. So our current school programs clearly aren't doing enough to prevent drug use in teens. And this is from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. So studies have found that parents are the most influential resource for teens when it comes to drug use. So us as parents and families need to be a better example and be someone for our teens to look up to and to rely on and trust. And when parents use drugs, the likelihood of kids using drugs goes way up. And this is from an article called The Science on Drug Use. It's been found that students benefit most from joint programs, so programs that start in school and continue in the home. So if we were to have a program that had maybe flyers or papers that were brought home, and this work was discussed in school and in home, it would get through to our teens much better, because our brains, when information is repeated and in different environments, that helps our brains process it better, and we're able to retain that information. So providing information and clear ideas on the damage addiction can cause is critical to abuse prevention, and this is from Teenage Substance Abuse Addiction Prevention. So we need to lay down the law, tell our students, our teens, what will happen to them if they use drugs. And so my second point is that raising awareness. We need to raise awareness because the use is too common. In an article called High School and Youth Trends, they found that marijuana vaping in 2018 showed the second largest single year increase in 45 years. So we have the facts. We know that drug use right now is really high. And I see it every day in the school that I work at, and when I was a high school student as well in recent years. So when I was in high school, I never saw posters, or I rarely saw posters of advertising against drugs. I was rarely talked to about the effects of drug use. It was mostly like Red Ribbon Week would come around, we'd celebrate, we'd get to wear sweats to school, we'd get to participate in activities where we got candy, but it was never like, they wouldn't ever really approach us with the real facts of drugs and what they do to us and our brains. And I found an article that backs this up called Just Think Twice, where it talks about how we need to, some of the best ways to get our point across to teens is to show them the effects. So like when I was in driver's ed as a student, they showed these horrifying videos of people who would drink and drive, or people who were distracted because of speed or just breaking the law in other ways. And that, I feel like, had a really big impact on me and what kind of driver I became, because I was kind of like shocked into thinking about what I did and how it had an effect on myself and others. So I think we should have a program that's more like driver's ed, where we show kids real life stories and what the effects of drug use can do to them. So, one last point that I want to make is that we can do more as a community to prevent drugs by connecting with and encouraging our teens. So, it's been shown that kids and teens that are encouraged in things they love or just in doing hard things are more resilient and make better decisions. And this is from an article called Family Checkup and Encouragement. And this quote says, encouragement is key to building confidence and a strong sense of self and helps parents promote cooperation and reduce conflict. So when I was a teen and school was hard or just day-to-day life seemed hard, I had my parents at home as well as others that were encouraging me to keep doing what's right, and I had these relationships with others that built trust and confidence in me. So I never had to turn to drugs to relieve what I was going through. And I also knew that I had expectations, rules to keep in my home, which is another big thing that we need to do for our students, is we need them to know what is expected of them and why. So the biggest thing I think for our teens is to just check in with them often and see how they're doing and try to build that relationship with them. Another major factor of drug use, besides parents or other guardian figures using drugs or being okay with drug use, is unrecognized and untreated mental illness in teens. So many times it's difficult for teens to approach others because they feel anxious or depressed or they're afraid of talking about things. So as a community, have a responsibility to change things. And my call to action to all of you is to talk with other parents of teens or talk with teens and encourage them to write letters to principals or other people in positions of power at school. Tell them that we need to see a bigger change. And this isn't just a personal invitation, this is a group action invitation. So if you would all be so kind as to think about what you'd say to a principal and how you could meet personally and share that, whether on Facebook or in group text with family and teens, that I know could make a difference. So it's our responsibility to change things. And in conclusion, I think it would be a good idea to implement a joint school and home talk prevention program, raise awareness of the effects by showing kids what happens when they use drugs, and connecting with and encouraging our teens. And then for the teenagers out there, if you're struggling and you need help with something, reach out to a trusted adult, because we're just here to help you and we want your life to be the best that it can be. Thank you.